Every morning, just after 7 o'clock, the bell above the door of Hale's flower shop chimed softly as the same man walked in, quiet and unhurried, making his way directly to the small refrigerated case near the register. He always chose the same flower. One single red rose, nothing more, nothing less. He would pay in exact change, thank the shop's owner politely, and leave just as quietly as he'd arrived, disappearing back into the early morning bustle of the street outside. Vivian Hale had owned the small flower shop for almost 3 years now, ever since stepping away from a demanding corporate career to build something quieter, something that felt more genuinely hers. She noticed regulars easily: the elderly woman who bought lilies every Friday, the young couple who came in nervously before anniversaries, but this man, always alone, always exactly one rose, had become something of a quiet mystery to her. His name, she'd learned from his card the very first week, was Daniel Reyes. Polite, soft-spoken, always dressed simply, usually in work clothes that suggested an early shift somewhere nearby. For months, Vivian resisted asking, respecting the quiet privacy he seemed to carry with him each morning. But curiosity, gentle and persistent, eventually got the better of her. One rainy Tuesday morning, as Daniel approached the counter with his usual single rose, Vivian finally spoke. "Can I ask you something?" she said carefully. "You've been coming in every morning for months now, always for just one rose. I don't mean to pry, but I've always wondered who it's for." Daniel paused, glancing down at the flower in his hand, a faint, thoughtful smile crossing his face. "It's for my wife," he said quietly. Vivian's expression softened immediately, assuming she understood. "That's incredibly sweet. Anniversary coming up soon." Daniel shook his head gently. "She passed away 3 years ago," he said, his voice calm but carrying the quiet weight of someone who had learned to speak about loss without letting it consume him entirely. "I visit her grave every morning on my way to work. It's on my route, just a short walk from the cemetery gates. I never wanted a day to go by without bringing her something." Vivian felt a small pang of embarrassment for her earlier assumption, quickly followed by a deeper wave of quiet respect. "I'm so sorry," she said softly. "That's an incredibly beautiful gesture, though. I don't think I've ever seen someone so consistent." She loved simple things, Daniel said, a faint smile touching his lips. "Never wanted elaborate gestures, just small, steady ones. A single rose felt right, somehow. Something manageable, something I could keep doing, even on the hardest days." Vivian nodded slowly, moved by the quiet devotion in his words. "Do you mind if I ask what she was like?" Daniel considered the question for a moment, clearly enjoying the rare opportunity to speak about her. "She was patient," he said. "More patient than me, most days. She had this way of making our daughter laugh over the smallest things, silly voices, ridiculous faces, nothing complicated. She always said the best moments in life were usually the quiet, ordinary ones." "You have a daughter?" Vivian asked, genuinely curious now. "Lily," Daniel said, his expression warming further. "She's 7, sharp as anything, stubborn just like her mother." He paused, glancing toward the window, the rain streaking softly down the glass. "I bring her by the shop sometimes, actually. She likes picking out flowers for her mother's grave on weekends. Yellow ones, usually. Says her mom liked bright colors better than red." Vivian smiled, imagining the scene, a small girl carefully selecting flowers with quiet determination. "She sounds wonderful." "She is," Daniel agreed simply. Over the following weeks, their morning exchanges grew slightly longer, small conversations building naturally between the quiet purchase of a single rose and Daniel's departure toward his early shift at the warehouse nearby. Vivian found herself looking forward to those brief mornings, appreciating the steady, gentle rhythm Daniel brought into her otherwise busy days. One Saturday, Daniel arrived with Lily beside him, her small hand tucked into his, her eyes lighting up immediately at the colorful displays surrounding the shop. "This is the flower shop I told you about," Daniel said, kneeling slightly to meet her eye level. "Miss Vivian runs it." Lily studied Vivian curiously. "Daddy gets mommy a rose every day." "I know," Vivian said warmly, kneeling down as well. "He's told me a little about her. She sounds like she was a wonderful person." Lily nodded seriously. "She liked yellow flowers best. I'm gonna pick some today." Together, they walked through the shop, Lily carefully selecting a small bouquet of bright yellow flowers, her small fingers testing each stem thoughtfully before making her final decision. As Daniel paid for both the rose and Lily's yellow flowers, Vivian found herself hesitating before speaking again. You know, she said carefully, if you'd ever like company on your walk sometime, or just someone to talk to on a difficult morning, I close the shop early on Wednesdays. Daniel studied her for a long moment, something quietly appreciative crossing his expression. I'd like that, he said honestly. It gets lonely sometimes, carrying all of it alone. You don't have to, Vivian said gently. Not every day, anyway. The following Wednesday, Vivian closed the shop a little early and walked alongside Daniel and Lily toward the cemetery, carrying a small bundle of yellow flowers herself. They walked mostly in comfortable silence, the kind shared naturally between people who understood grief without needing extensive explanation. At the grave, Lily carefully placed her yellow flowers beside Daniel's single red rose, standing quietly for a moment before looking up at her father. Do you think Mommy likes that Miss Vivian came today? Daniel considered the question thoughtfully, glancing toward Vivian, who stood respectfully a few steps back. I think, he said softly, she'd be happy that we're not walking through hard days completely alone anymore. As they walked home together beneath the softening afternoon light, Daniel found himself grateful, not for the first time, for the quiet, unexpected ways life sometimes offered small moments of comfort, even amid enduring grief, one single rose, one small yellow bouquet, one gentle companion at a time.